Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm Jameson Brink, and we are one. So today I want to talk about the Aya Neo Air. I talked about it a little bit last week, and there's more information that's been dropped. A lot more, including even more confusing tiers, I feel like, than the Iron Loki. So it's looking like it will be good for some people. I think people will like this. I'm confused on competition with the Steam Deck, but it's just a much more portable Steam Deck with a different form factor. It's a little bit more portable, is what I'm trying to say on that. With that, make sure to like, subscribe, bash that bell with your crowbar. Now let's take the field trip on over to the webs. This is going to be a field trip video today. So the title of this article is just obviously you can read Aya Neo Air with an OLED display is a thinner, lighter handheld gaming PC for $549 and up. It's not deceiving, but there is also another Aya Neo Air Plus that was announced. This article is a little older. This dropped right after, I believe, their video dropping with all the information. So we'll get into that, the Aya Neo Air Plus, right after we just look at the Aya Neo Air, which also has a Pro version. So once again, they're making these really, I can't stress this enough. Doing these tier systems like this is very confusing for the consumer. And I think this is a hot enough topic, and they look sexy. Like, this is a sexy looking device, in my opinion. I'd take it out on a date. I don't know. It depends on how well it runs or whatnot, if I'd ask it out again, but I think it looks great. There are sacrifices that we're going to get into. So it's hard because there's two USB-C's ports, from my understanding, one at the bottom, one at the top. And then it's also got a fingerprint scanner for some of the base ones don't, like the cheaper ones. So if it's the base or even the Plus doesn't, I believe, have a screen or not a screen, fingerprint reader for security reasons, right? And then it also has the micro SD card slot, then an audio slot. It's not a bad. I love the USB-C 2 ports though. Like, that's the one thing Steam Deck is lacking the most when it comes to trying to use this as a desktop. Okay, so with the Aya Neo Air, the base one, it has a 5.5-inch monitor or screen that's 1080p, and then it's OLED display, and you can have up to 32 gigs of RAM in this thing. Obviously, it depends. I think they're doing the upgrade path where you check out, you can add different amounts of RAM, or I believe with the Pro, it just has the 32 gigs, which is it's really hard. For my opinion, it's overkill unless you're doing some type of productivity thing on this, and then you're going to be bottlenecked by the CPU before I think you'd have issues with the RAM. It all depends on what you're doing on it, of course. The interesting thing, though, in this form factor, they are able to slap an M.2 2280 slot into it that can have up to 2 terabytes of storage. That should be upped later. I don't know where the limitations are for that. On that storage size, I believe you can go up to 4 terabytes, I believe, maybe even more. But with that, I think they sacrificed on the battery a little bit. So the base model is 28-watt battery. And it definitely shows when they were showing these things. So The Witcher 3 will run for 75 minutes, which translates to 1 hour, 15 minutes. And then you can see like a bunch of these. I'm really like Dead Cells runs at the power wattage is, TDP, and it's double the other ones at 147, but still, that is just, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that power draw about this. I don't know if you're going to be playing Witcher 3 on this device very well. We can look at a little bit of I do have some things with the AMD Radeon RX Vega 8 graphics that we'll go into and just like speculate, because obviously once we have to get the device to really see how they fine-tuned it and all that, if they're going to be running SteamOS, and just there's so many aspects to this, but it's definitely, I'm going to say it right now, this is not going to be the Steam Deck. And this is not meant to be I'm just letting people know. Until we have it in our hands, we don't know for sure. I wouldn't expect it to beat the Steam Deck. It's going to be portability is what you're going to gain from this. A lot of portability and a couple extra features. So let's go into a little bit of the different SKUs and stuff that they have here. So with the Ioneo Air, they have the base CPU of 5560U APU from AMD. It's the Ryzen 5 series with 6 cores, 12 threads. And then it has the Ioneo Pro, which then runs the Ryzen 7 5825U at 8 cores, 16 threads, and that is going to probably be pretty hungry with your battery life, which is good that they upped to 38 watt instead of the 28. Meaning, if they can get that into this form factor, I don't know if it's gonna be bigger. I don't know if I got any information on that size wise. Let's see here. So it should be about the same size. So it's kind of frustrating that they just didn't go with the 38 watt, which is what it looks like it needs from the get go. You're going to be really battery hungry. Like, people were complaining about the Steam Deck not having great battery life. This is going to be even worse. So let's get back into the specs a little bit. It's got the Vega 7 for all but the Pro, which has a Vega 8. Then it has, you can see the power draws up to 18 watts. And then the base, the min model has 8 gigs, and then the middle tier 16 gigs, and then 32 gigs. In the past, I believe they have allowed for upgrading this in the checkout, so they might allow that, or they'll just allow a lot of different SKUs to allow you to check that out. It is a 5.5 inch screen, which is weird that I've heard that there's a 6-inch screen, and maybe that's with the Plus, but it's a 5.5 inch screen, 1080. You can correct me in the comments below if this information is not correct, because I have seen both 6-inch and 5-inch, 5.5. The OLED will be really nice, but I don't think it's going to win over me with the rest of the specs. Wi-Fi 6, which, a must these days, Bluetooth 5.2. And then we get into the fingerprint reader, like I said. It included all but the base colors, and it looks like they have different color SKUs. Obviously, the lowest tier, white, and then you get a bunch of different options as you go up from there. The weight does change as, you get into the Pro. Not by much. Not that it's going to matter. This is where it's kind of weird and where I think the Loki might actually beat this, but we're going to get into that a little bit because the Air Plus is going to be a direct competitor with the Loki. Their starting price is $499 for the early bird, and then it just it goes up to, you can get up to about 1,000, even more, like up to 1,400, which really just makes me wonder the market for this and how well it will do. This is all speculation right now, and I'm really curious more than anything to see how this thing does. And then you got the Ioneo here Plus that has a 6-inch, which is, once again, even more weird once we get into that Mendocino processor, which we'll get into that in a second. But the so it comes out early August 2022, and then also September 2022. So late summer, mid to late summer for the release of this year. So the specs aren't bad. I just don't think they make sense if you're going to be playing AAA games. Like I said, this isn't going to be playing AAA games. Great. There's going to be some games you just won't be able to play. But with the Ioneo Air Plus, the AMD Mendocino processor is a 2-compute unit. It's been confirmed. The Loki also has a base model that's also around this price point of $289. And it sounds great. This sounds awesome. This chip is not really designed for gaming from what I've looked into. It's going to be very limited. You're going to be able to play emulators and some maybe old school games on Steam or 2D, platformers, whatever it is. You just don't expect this to play AAA games at all when it comes to like the graphical fidelity. Like, so if it's a very graphically intense game, even Witcher 3, I don't think this is going to be able to play. I will be happy to be corrected and stand wrong when this comes out. You can at me in the comments if you want. Doesn't mean it's right until this thing releases and I see it running for my eyes in someone's hands. Witcher 3, no one's going to be able to prove it to me until someone does that. So, not saying that this isn't a good device. I'm not trying to base this off of just like, can it run Witcher 3 or whatever. No, it's just for me personally, how I look at these, I needed like with the Steam Deck. Steam Deck can do that. Steam Deck has been able to play every game I've thrown at it for the most part. Even Dying Light 2, it runs a little sluggish, but it can run it. That being said, I'm not saying I recommend it. It can run it though. This, you're going to end up in a screenshot, essentially slideshow. You're going to be in a slideshow fun times with the iNeo Air Plus if you decide to go that route. So once again, I believe it's very similar to the other one. I wouldn't be against getting this. I'm getting the Odin, and more than welcome to have iNeo Air, send me a unit to review. I think, I'd review it for the reason it would exist, which would be for portability. And that's what these exist for, is portability and being able to play some of the games that you want on the go. It's just don't expect it to beat the Steam Deck or even replace the Steam Deck if you're looking for something that's going to play a ton of different games. This is going to be limited by its processor. But it still always throws me off that they slapped a 2280 in there. M.2 drive. That is sick. I will have to say, like, that is one of the things I love about this. So this is the Vega 8, and this obviously can be tuned differently in the in their version. In the iNeo Air, they could tune it differently, or they could use SteamOS, and these numbers could change. Let's just say that. But they definitely don't look great. Like Cyberpunk 2077 runs at, I can get it to run about 30, 40 frames on medium settings. Maybe about 40 on medium settings. I like it. It runs decently. Does it have frame rate drops at times? Yes. It's not perfect. But with some, maybe with some tweaking, it will run even better. So it doesn't give me a lot of hope looking at this. Like Doom Eternal runs at like ultra, essentially will run at like high or ultra on my device at really good frames. So Steam Deck, that is. I'm curious. I sound really negative with this. I just don't understand. I think it just throws me off every time they do these tier systems. All I want is 2. If you're going to have to do, you can do various different versions of the RAM or even the hard drive if you want. But like, I just don't like how confusing it gets. And I guess for the most part, you can just see where they switch up the battery. They just change so many different things. I don't like that. So I've already complained on that. I'm a little skeptical, obviously you can tell, but I do think this is slick and sexy. I love the designs of both the iNeo and the Ion devices. I think they look nice. I think the screen size is a little small for me, but I think these aren't designed for AAA. These are going to be for games that you'd play on the Switch, essentially. So just know that. Don't go expecting this to go beat the Steam Deck. And there's going to be 2 parties here. People are going to expect this to essentially destroy the Steam Deck, which I don't know. Maybe there's some people like that. It's weird, but I can see people saying, oh yeah, this is going to be better than the Steam Deck, or in my eyes better. And then other people are going to be like, oh, well, this is going to be so much worse than the Steam Deck. Why is it even coming out? And there's 2 parties to this. It's just like with the Switch. People like playing Switch games and Nintendo games. People like playing their very like easy to run games, like indie games, emulators, all that on the go. And this is more portable than the Steam Deck. You can definitely tell from the form factor. So that's the part. That's who it's for. So in the end, I overanalyzed this a little bit too much, but this is just an interesting time for portable PC gaming. And I think we're going to get more things like this, and we'll see. iNeo has been coming out with so many different products that are so samey. We'll see how this all goes. This is definitely the era, meaning this is a much more reduced version of what they've offered in the past. So with that being said, let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this? Are you going to get this device? Are you still going to stick with Steam Deck? You can get both. There is room for both, if that's up to you, if you want to spend the extra money. So thank you guys for watching. Check out my other videos. Check out the description below for any goodies down there, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Later!